that you can do that will get you to the point of becoming that goat? And why would you want to become one? Those are the solid questions that you want to answer prior to engaging yourself into any kind of activity. So, whether you want to become a goat or a feudal lord or a freedom founder will truly depend on your internal energy level. If you have a powerful energy level to deliver innovative solutions for the feudal lords, then of course that is one of the top reasons you can may want to consider becoming a goat. That only if you wanted to deliver the top of the top solutions for the feudal lords. What kind of solutions are we talking about? Well, you see, every single day there's a new shiny object, like Clawbot, Open Claw, all sorts of shiny objects. And heck, there's even movies, cartoons like Goat, which is one of those popular movies that just came out, of cartoons. It's called Goat. And of course, one of the quickest way for you to become a goat is to start combining trends. If you start combining trends together with some of those other trends like Open Claw, then all of a sudden you're going to become really, really good, guys. Now, the question is, why do you really want to be good? Well, some of you perhaps will say, I want to earn extra income. I just want to feel good about myself. I want to do it for fulfillment, whatever the case may be. But the entire process of becoming a goat, it's like trying to solve a triple murder mystery if you're trying to become one. Every single day, there's new dynamics in play, new challenges, new opportunities. And of course, by the end of this workshop, you're probably thinking you're going to get out of something. The truth is, no, you guys not going to get anything out of this workshop other than the fact that you're going to be able to better understand my point of view. Now, point of view, that's the real flex in 2026. Not a lot of people out there recognize how powerful having a point of view. Now, keep something in mind. You could go to ChatGPT and ask questions like, how do I become a goat? What is it that I'm supposed to do? But you're not gonna really get the right point of view. So I had a lot of freedom founders reaching out to me and be like, Rome, I noticed that you're a top goat in a school community, but why do you need to do that? What is the purpose behind all this? Is there anything beyond being a goat? And how do I become one? And what is it that it gives you? This is a top question I get from lots of freedom founders in this community. And guys, look, once you become a goat, and I'm sure you guys already seen a movie, it's called Goat, or a cartoon that's playing out there in the theaters, and you probably already seen some resemblance for what's happening in that movie to whatever is going on in this channel. You could probably already see the references and some similarities. And just like in that cartoon, there's techniques that you gotta conquer in the real world. And of course, the entire cartoon is about I legitly think more and more that some of those companies, the bigger ones that are creating those cartoons and building anything, I legitly think they're being influenced by my content, guys. Just to prove you the point, here's what I did. When I first started creating content and becoming GOAT. In 2024, I decided to perform a social experiment on my own brain to see if I could rewire it from being a process prisoner for over 40 years, to see if a regular person can rewire their brain to become very skillful in some of those creative skills with zero skills whatsoever, other than the skills from the corporate world, settings, fixing corporate networks. And so I wanted to prove to my own self to see if I could rewire my brain and see what happens. And in 3 months, I was so successful that a $1 billion company noticed me and created a drink called Freedom Fusion. And that's right, that $1 billion company is Pepsi. So guys, what does that prove? Now, some of you probably will say, well, I don't know what it proves, but that's kind of bonkers. I mean, think about it. If you didn't have any skills and I went ahead and decided to just out of blue, perform a social experiment on your own brain, and then discover that you have some incredible skills, and for whatever reason, billion-dollar company just loves those skills so much that they create a drink out of it, then that gotta tell you you're moving in some sort of right direction. Now, needless to say, some of you will be like, well, it's not relevant. I can't. It's not relevant to me. I'm going to run away. But guys, look, you're here because you want to become a GOAT. You want to learn the perspective. You want to learn something unique. If you go on ChatGPT and try to search for something like this, how do I become a GOAT? You're not going to get the same perspective that you're getting in this video. You're going to be struggling, going through multiple trials, triumphs, and tribulations, trying to become a GOAT. But the truth is, guys, you just need to submerge yourself into this feudal system framework that I reincarnated from Japan in 2024. And as soon as I did that, 2 months later, billion-dollar company named Pepsi noticed my talent agency and created a drink called Freedom Fusion by Mountain Dew, special edition, summer edition of 2024. Now, why am I telling you all this, guys? I'm telling you because I didn't really have any skills. And if I didn't have any skills and I was just decided out of a blue, perform a social experiment of my own brain and got that kind of results just in a few months, can you imagine what you can do? And heck, guys, I gotta tell you this. I'm not a young pony anymore. But if you're a young side hustler and trying to develop those hybrid skills and trying to become a GOAT, then heck, if somebody like me can become one in just a matter of a few months, can you imagine what you can do? But then again, like, look, at the end of the day, guys, look, you're gonna watch that cartoon video on the movie GOAT. You're gonna get motivated and you're gonna try to become that GOAT in your own skill. Now, but what kind of skill? A lot of people gatekeeping those skills. They're not telling you exactly what to study, what to learn. The truth is, guys, you could be learning to infinity and will never find anything remotely close what you want to do if you don't take action. Now, I get it. Many of you be like, yo, but I don't want to take action. I just want to become a GOAT. I don't want to read. I just want to lead. Guys, look, I get it. And there's no harm in that. But you got to do that with a balance. Look, I'm going to give you a little secret. How would you like to learn one simple thing that you could do to influence other people without influencing people directly, but rather doing so indirectly? How would you like to learn this skill real quick right now? In a few minutes, learn the skill, how to influence other people without influencing the people directly. Now, some of you are probably already lost you. Some of you are already probably lost. But those who are still watching, I'm gonna learn precisely how to do that. But before I do that, I'm gonna describe how I discovered this. How I discovered this powerful skill of being able to influence people without directly talking to people. This is incredible, guys. You're not gonna find that on ChatGPT. You're not gonna find that anywhere. But in this workshop, and I'm gonna call it a workshop, you're gonna learn precisely how to do that. And that skill alone can give you the pathway of finally becoming the GOAT. So check this out. This is how I discovered this hybrid skill. It actually came to me not that many months ago. Just maybe 3 to 4 months ago, I came across the skill. And when I discovered the skill, I couldn't believe it, how easy it was and how much impactful it was. So here's the problem. The problem in the world of AI, in post-apocalyptic world of AI that we live in, the problem is simple. There is so much noise, so much distraction, that it's impossible to create impactful learning effectiveness on the minds of others without resorting to some of those GOAT hybrid skills that are not taught in college. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to describe to you what happened to me few months ago when I discovered this hybrid skill. Now, this skill was the foundation of the post follow-up videos that you're seeing directly in this channel about OpenClaw, about CloudBot, about all those different trendy activities that I started tapping into. Recently, few months ago, I came across few astrophysicists and neuroscientists who provided some examples what people are listening into. And I discovered some of the statistics from Stanford University about students who would be listening to stories of other people. And this was the experiment that was done at Stanford University. The experiment was simple. They placed a bunch of students in a room and they presented them a story. The first story started out with a real fact. And then they asked all the people in a room if they learned anything from it. And 96% of people said yes, providing that, of course, the story started off with a real fact. Then they took the same experiment and asked people who are not, and created a story, described the story that didn't start with a real fact. And then asked those students if they learned anything. The result was 13% versus 96%. What does that tell you? So guys, look, let me make that clear. The skill that I discovered a few months ago led me into the new discovery. This discovery that I just like, oh my God, this discovery is so powerful. This discovery can lead you to become the GOAT. The discovery where you morph the psychological processes and neuroscience together with real facts that allows you to create this story in front of others while captivating their attention, increasing their learning effectiveness exponentially, while maximizing your chance of success. Now look, some of you probably gonna be like, well, I don't get it. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to tap into neuroscience. I don't know how to use this social experiment, but tell me exactly how can I use this for real life? Well, you see guys, majority of people who are gonna be buying products or services from you, they're really not gonna be buying anything unless you can captivate their attention. So to really captivate their attention is the skill of the GOAT. So if you wanna become the GOAT, you need to become very captivating. Now, how do you do that? And what kind of experiment did I discover? What did I discover a few months ago that led me to creating incredible CloudBot videos and talking about CloudBot and describing all those nuances that eventually led to lots of customers coming in my way. So how does it work, guys? Well, simple. When I first started doing this, guys, I had no idea how effective it's gonna be until I actually started doing it. And then when I did, out of a sudden, my phone was just blowing up from all those people who wants to learn about CloudBot. And I'm like, I bet. I didn't think that I'd be able to influence masses just by talking to ChatGPT and including all the use cases that don't exist, all talking about nothing but CloudBot. I had no idea that for whatever reason, all those people on the other side, those vibe coders and everybody else who are using ChatGPT, gonna come across my solutions big directly inside of ChatGPT. I had no idea that my content was so powerful that it influences AI, and in turn AI influences all the other vibe coders and everybody else who is trying to create all sorts of solutions with CloudBot. But what was the secret formula? How did I discover this such a super powerful GOAT skill? Well, you see guys, for the longest time, I was a process prisoner, going through multiple trials, triumphs, and tribulations, trying to figure out an anchor, trying to find the common denominator for survival, for something that gives me that feeling of fulfillment, something that gives me that upper edge. I finally found it. And it was a combination of hybrid skills, by tapping into neuroscience astrophysicists, all of those sciences, and starting off my conversations with you with a real fact. Now, look, at the end of the day, guys, if you don't have a solid foundation, if you don't have a way to break through the process prisoners, if you don't have a way to maximize your chances of becoming a GOAT, if you don't have a way to sit down and have a little bit of patience, then you will never become a GOAT. That will never happen, guys. The only reason I became a GOAT was because of those social experiments where I would be tapping into my own mind. And that was the reason why I became a GOAT. Boom. Now, some of you will be like, well, that doesn't explain anything. Well, guys, look, at the end of the day, here's what you got to do. You got to remove the word you out of the vocabulary. That's the first step. The instant you say the word you will sound salesy, like you're trying to sell something, and people are allergic to that. They run away like right away. Boom, immediately you got to fix that. To become a GOAT, you got to fix that. And instead of you, say I. And you got to be using words like I bet, yo. That got to be another word you got to be using. You got to be using intonation, and you got to remove the word you. But wait a second, I'm still using you. Oh my God, I shouldn't be doing that. Sheesh. I bet. Okay, that was a mistake. But anyway, I got you. You see, guys, this is another thing what you need to be doing. Oh my God, I said the word you again. Notice how I'm introducing double intonation, variation, combination, and introducing all sorts of techniques and laughter and quirks and all of that. Like, how do you do that? What is the secret tea behind this social evolvement of your own personalities? Guys, in this life, to become a GOAT, you gotta be observer, observee, and the agent, all at the same time. This is how you become a GOAT. In 2024, I discovered the feudal system. I managed to reincarnate the system from Japan. This is the beautiful, beautiful system that makes it possible for you to finally discover your inner being, to finally discover that transformation that you've been seeking for. Now, at the end of the day, guys, look, at the end of the day, there's going to be many trials, triumphs, and tribulations that you're going to be going through. You'll be trying multiple ways to become a GOAT, but there's going to be internal forces that's going to be stopping you. There's going to be obstacles that you're going to be coming across, and people not going to be stopping you. They're going to be like, oh, everything's going to be okay. But to become a GOAT, you need to track the success statistics versus failure statistics. You need to be varying and combining your quirks, variations, combinations, polarizations, and summarization techniques with power of influence and all sorts of other elements. You need to be doing that across multiple socials as you are becoming a mentor, mentee, and building your feudal kingdom simultaneously. Now, guys, look, at the end of the day, here's all I gotta say. To become a GOAT, it's a journey. It's a journey. But if I didn't do that, guys, I doubt I'd be a multimillionaire by now. If I didn't do that. But look, if you're struggling, and I know, many of you guys are, and I get it. But at the end of the day, how many workshops did you watch from this channel? Just ask, 1 or 2, or this is the first time you watch it. If the answer is 1 or 2, well, there's about 2,000 more for you to watch. So the answer is there's 2,000 more workshops for you to watch. Now, will you become smart by watching all those workshops? Yes, you will unequivocally become smarter than 90% of everybody else who you came across if you watch all 2,000 workshops. But when you do that, you got to do this right. You got to do that based on relevancy. Otherwise, it's easy to go cuckoo or bonkers. So, remember, guys, there's a thin line between being a genius and being a local. I guess that's the word they have in Spanish. But needless to say, guys, look, at the end of the day, if you wanted to be very good, if you wanted to become the GOAT, you simply need to take action. Go ahead and find a problem. Find a problem that many business owners struggle with. Identify that problem and see how you could use CloudBot to solve that problem by picking something trendy, by picking something worthy, by picking something shiny. Do that, and I promise you guys, the eyes will be upon you. But the only way you're going to be able to pull this off is if you pick double trendy type of content. For example, right now I'm talking about GOAT content, but I'm also talking about CloudBot. Notice how I went ahead and I intersected GOATs and CloudBot content together and produced a little workshop where I'm kind of like saying, yo, and of course you'll be like, yay. The bottom line is you guys understanding all those principles that where I'm interconnecting multiple parts together, multiple trendy elements together. Now, this is what's gonna happen when you start slowing yourself down. I know many of you guys probably want to talk fast, but try to slow yourself down. Doing so will give you incredible wings of freedom. It will make you less overwhelmed. And of course, it will give you an opportunity to earn more money. My name's Ron Well, and today I'm talking about how to become a GOAT. So, and this is my journey, how I became a GOAT. At the age of 6, I started learning about computers. It wasn't that long ago, only, well, 38 years ago. So 38 years ago, but okay, maybe not long ago in my mind. But you know what they say, time is compressed. Time, and some people think that there is no time. Believe it or not, there's multiple theories, and sometimes I feel that same way too. And when I kind of, I could just kind of look back at my own old self many years ago instantly. So the question is, does time exist? If you can recall something when you were younger instantly, does it mean time exists? Think about it. When you were younger, did you have to worry about anything? The truth is, not really. You kind of be like, oh, you know, I'm like 5 years old. What can I do? What can I not do? You didn't really have to worry. You didn't have a lot of kind of things to think about. But how can you explain that from neuroscience perspective? How can you explain that when you get older, you worry about things? Well, obviously your brain develops, you learn more, neurons start firing up, you start creating patterns, and you start learning more, etc. But that's not the explanation that I'd like to hear. And because think about it, you initially when you were born, you were in the state of non-existence. Like you just felt like, man, why do I have to worry about things? Why do I have to go to the bathroom? Why do I have to go and change my clothes? Why do I have to go and like go to work and wear a tie? Why do I have to do all this? Have you ever asked yourself this question, why? Like, especially, have you ever asked yourself this question, why did you have to feel that way when you were younger? And how come, like what happened over the years that you don't feel that way? Guys, well, over the years, as I mentioned, your brain developed and you stopped thinking that way. But initially, when you were born, you didn't really have any connections with this world, and everything that you were that you were coming across was new to you. And because of that, this is my theory. Because of that, because of how everything is new to you after you're born, and you feel that way, like you gotta adjust yourself to everything, that means in the state of before being born, you simply didn't have any worries about anything. So welcome, we got Niha over here. Thank you for allocating a little bit of